when I came on board, Matt Gardner was my sponsor. He was a team leader. He was like, guys, you got a cold call. I was like, oh, I got a cold call. And people have different thoughts on this. And you could be super, super successful doing that. I did for about 3 hours and gave up entirely. And so that's why I failed my first year, because I thought that, well, that's what you have to do to succeed in real estate. And it turns out that wasn't true at all. There's a whole slew of ways to generate leads. You just have to find the ones you actually enjoy doing in order to be consistent and in order to build a client base on a consistent basis.
Welcome back, Real Estate Rockstars. I am Shelby Johnson, and I'm here today with Charlie Cameron, a buddy of mine. And listeners, this one is for you. If you are interested in attracting leads through Facebook communities and SEO, and guys, Charlie is like a total freak of nature when it comes to systems, automations, and leverage. So I know that we're going to dive deep into those as well. Charlie is out of the Florida Panhandle, which is Niceville, Destin area-ish, and he has been an agent for 4 years, most of which he was also active duty Air Force. And this past year closed $26 million in volume as a solo agent. Recently just started the team leader role with 4 agents. But yeah, dude, Charlie, who are you? What is your real estate story? Hit us.
Shelby, my friend, thank you for having me. Really stoked to be here. Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed the story. I actually started first investing. While we were stationed in Ohio, I bought 2 fourplexes as my first investment deal because I'm an idiot. And I self-managed because I was also an idiot. But I learned everything the way I learned things, which is the hard way. But it's kind of just, I have to do it myself. I'm just built that way. So I learned how to manage apartments, how to flip apartments, how to add value to property, how to manage. So I knew what hiring a manager was going to look like. From there, I bought 16 more units with a partner, added value to those. Then kind of after I met some more folks like yourself and Dave Perret, the War Room, I moved down to Florida. I was out of money for buying real estate, so I got a real estate license, of course. That's
for the easy money,
Easy, such easy money, yeah. And then kind of pivoted from long-term rentals to short-term rentals, self-managed, all out of my local area. Did a lot of that. And then I pivoted recently on the investing side into residential assisted living. Along the way, while active duty and my wife was active duty, I sold houses part-time on the side. So sucked my first year, to be honest. After I figured out how to attract clients to me, things took off. I became a 6-figure a year agent part-time. And it sounds weird. I left the military, but I'm still a part-time agent. I kind of consider myself still a part-time agent because I have a lot of irons in the fire and I like doing a lot of different real estate related businesses. So for me, I'm kind of still a part-time agent, which is it's kind of weird to say.
No,
my
cool.
wife might refute that statement, but
you work all
time
the time.
will tell.
Yeah. Okay. Dude, you said I figured out how to attract clients, which I feel like listeners are like, no, like time out. We got to rewind to that point and just, can you tell me how are you attracting clients?
Yeah. So the first thing I figured out was a Facebook community. Like, hey, let me just figure out a way to add value to my ideal client, which was military buyers. I do work with investors as well, but my favorite thing is a first-time VA home buyer. I just love it. It's such a great experience for everyone. It really excites me. So I started a Facebook community for military members PCSing to the Panhandle PCS. And so started building that, started adding value, just teaching people like, hey, here's the rules for moving on base. Here's the rules for your Diddy move. Here's the rules for and here's all the information about the bases. Here's a PCS guide for each base. And just throwing so much value out there that people were seeing that, joining the group. Hey, this is really interesting. Oh, there's a lot of information about my move. Hey, he sent me a PCS guide. Oh, by the way, all over the Facebook group and the PCS guide is, hey, work with me. And then they would just go fill out a jot form, essentially, or like a client questionnaire survey. And then poof, I had no way of tracking this process, but they would just sign up. And then we'd be working with them the next day, right? And so very kind of interesting way to get things rolling from a guy who when I came on board, Matt Gardner was my sponsor. He was a team leader. He was like, guys, you got a cold call. I was like, oh, I got a cold call. And people have different thoughts on this, and you can be super, super successful doing that. I did for about 3 hours and gave up entirely. And so that's why I failed my first year, because I thought that, well, that's what you have to do to succeed in real estate. And it turns out that wasn't true at all. There's a whole slew of ways to generate leads. You just have to find the ones you actually enjoy doing in order to be consistent and in order to build a client base on a consistent basis.
I also lasted about maybe 2-3 hours cold calling. Like when I first got my license and I was like trying to figure it out, I was like, this is what we do, right? And I was like, wait, this is not for me. So totally feel you on that. For the Facebook community, can we get like hyper tactical? So like someone out there is like, man, I would like to do this. I want to start my own community. Is it so in Facebook, you just go and you create a group? Like what, can you walk us through it, please?
Yeah. So what I'm not talking about is joining someone else's group and then spamming the shit out of anyone who said, oh, can I say that on the, spamming the crap out of anyone.
Yeah, I was muted. Cursing is allowed-ish if it's the guest and not me. So
okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, so what we're not talking about is going into a Facebook group that somebody else owns and then spamming the crap out of people, anyone who mentions buying or renting a house. Because that's a really sure way to not be adding value and to, sliding into people's DMs about buying homes without their consent. It's really not a good way to build a business. And if you're doing it in someone else's group, you're going to get banned very quickly. And so I saw that all the groups in my area were exactly like that. One military member would be like, hey, I'm PCS into the area. I want to buy a house. And 90 agents would respond, because if you have a driver's license in Florida, you can be a real estate agent. I'm only half kidding. And so everyone responds, oh, let me be your agent. It was like just disgusting. Like is there no other way for you to build a business? And how is 1 out of 90 agents going to somehow get that lead? That's terrible. So I was like, okay, we're going to do it different. No spammy agents. If you're a military spouse or a military member and you're an agent, you can join. The first time you violate a rule, you're out, right? And so you can't be spammy, you can't be DMing people. You're there to add value to other military members, or you're out. And so that's what we did. Is we just, hey, this is a value add group. Actually copied Michael Hughes. I don't know if you know who that is, but he runs an El Paso PCS group. Really great guy, and that's how he built his whole business. And he kind of shared some tidbits with me. I was like, hey, dude, how do you do this? I just like messaged him out of the blue, and he shared a couple things, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. And so you build a community, you build value, you can schedule a lot of these posts, and then you can insert some custom stuff throughout the week. It doesn't take a ton of time to do this. Though I was full-time active duty and an investor, what I ended up doing that really helped it take off was I hired a military spouse to do this posting for me. And then I had her add Canva, and then I had her start doing transactional stuff. And then I got her real estate license. And now she's a team member and a transaction coordinator and runs the group. So I guess that's the progression of things. But
good find with her. Okay, so since you are a part-time agent and you knew that this would be relatively time consuming, you had the vision, you did the rip off and duplicate, which is one of my favorite strategies. And then from there, I understand like you have the page, you've established the rules, you mentioned where you were finding content, which I think is basically like, if I were moving to this area, what would I want to know? But still, how are you getting people to find your page? Like, are they searching, or like, where's the growth coming from?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't always know how they ultimately take the path to get to me. I just give them lots of options. So I'll just name off a few examples. When they go to fill out their questions to join the group, one is, let me send you a PCS guide for your specific base. Tell me which base and give me your email. 90% of them give me an email. Okay. 90% of them are leads. And there's dozens and dozens joining every week. Right. And so every single one of them gets an email from me. That's got my PCS guide. It's got another PDF that says why work with the military home team. And at the back of that PCS guide, I've got a page about me and my partner lender. I've got my YouTube videos about the base and moving to that base and how to use a VA loan in the area and how the transactions work in the area. So if they click on the YouTube videos, they're going to see me. If they read any of those attachments, they're going to see me. In the body of the email, I say, hey, our military members get a free home warranty when they work with our team. Like just kind of beating it into them in a way, not in a spammy way. Like, hey, here's all the advantages. You can work with me or not. I don't actually do a lot of follow up. Maybe that's one of my weak points. Maybe I'm lazy. I don't know. But another thing I do is I do a welcome post every week. Everyone gets tagged in there, and I say, hey, you have the option to work with our team. The header for the Facebook group has a QR code, and it says match with a military-friendly realtor. A lot of our graphics, like the welcome graphic or other ones, will have that same QR code, and it just goes to our job form. The QR code's in our PCS packet. There's a new function on Facebook groups where when they enter the group, they get a welcome message. It's in there too. If you want to work with us, here's how you do it. And then I'm posting YouTube videos and blog posts that we're creating content for our team in the group. We share wins for our other clients in the group. And then kind of the nice thing is over time, you add all your clients to this group. And then when someone says, I need a realtor, guess who 80% of your group is? They're all your clients, and they're promoting you. And they're saying, hey, use the military home team, use Lucas, use Barbie, use Charlie, right? And so it's kind of like a self-fulfilling thing where we keep kind of generating leads that way. And then I do take time to follow up. I send a Facebook message to everyone just saying, hey, welcome to the group. Let us know what I can help you with. Signed, Charlie, Air Force veteran, military home team lead. That's it, right? And if they're like, hey, how do I get on base housing? How do I sign up for Child Development Center? How do I register for schools? I send them that info. Has nothing to do with me making a commission, but ultimately they're going to remember that, right? And they're going to remember that they got value from the group. They're going to participate in the group, which grows the group, and everybody wins.
Real quick, before we get back to the episode, 2 things I wanted to share. First, thank you so much for tuning in week after week. It really means the world to all of us. Second, we feel like we're just getting started. If you enjoy what we do here, please follow us on this app, share an episode, or give us a quick review. I promise we're working hard behind the scenes to make this show as good as possible now and into the future. Thanks, guys. Back to the show. How much of this, which is a lot, by the way, like I'm so grateful that they can just search your Facebook, which again, what is your Facebook?
I guess it's Crush It with Charlie. I probably need to update it to the military home team, but
no, I meant your PCS group.
Oh, Panhandle PCS.
Okay, Panhandle PCS.
Panhandle PCS.
Okay, yeah. So if that was so much, then you can just search out the group, right? And they can look at your page for an example. There's so much going on there. I'm curious about what is it that you are manually doing of those things that you just listed? What is automated? And then what is a human who's other than you? You can, that was 3 questions. So whatever you want to answer within that.
No, that's good. Yeah. And I'm trying to distill everything that I taught my team in 4 hours. In this
no pressure.
So hopefully I'm creating a lot of value in. But so I brought a military spouse on to assist me in growing this group and basically being the content lead for it. So she basically handles all of that. I'll sometimes ad hoc if I see something, hey, there's a hurricane coming, or by the way, there's these new builds that you can get a 5.5% VA interest rate in a 7.5% environment. I'll throw those things on there, right? Or I'll throw a win. So I kind of sprinkle things in as it's convenient to me. But she's kind of the regular poster. We do two posts a day, except for on weekends we do 1, and that's kind of it there. She takes all the requests and vets them, makes sure they're actually a veteran or a spouse. We may dig into their profile to I know it sounds like work, but we may dig into their profile to verify that, because we're looking for value and we're looking for that tight-knit community. We're not looking for people to come in and sell them stuff. And so we do that. And then if people give us their address and the base and any other notes about their move, like what information are they looking for, she takes that, she puts it in a Google Sheet. As soon as she does that, an email is sent from my email to that person with the PCS guide specifically for that base, everything written out, their names in the email. It's sort of like using a CRM, but I use Zapier to do it. So it comes directly.
I was going to say, because when you're like, it automatically happens, I'm like, oh, great. What does that mean? What do you mean? You have like a ghost, like what's, like, how does it automatically go from a Google Sheet sent out?
Yeah, so Zapier is a integration tool. It just connects tools together, allows you to send data from one place to another or manipulate different things. It allows you to attach attachments to emails specifically by which base. It's really amazing. I think it's like stupidly cheap too, like $15 a month or something. And I'm running 400 tasks a month through it. So really awesome tool. It sends the email automatically. And then I get an email and I go, okay, we've got new leads. I need to go And then I'll send manually, personally, I send a Facebook message. I might tailor it a little bit to that person. I have a script message that I send, but then I'll put their name. I might put the base name. I might say, hey, we have a mutual friend. Or, I'll point something out, or, hey, we used to be stationed there, just kind of build a connection, right? Ultimately, this business is about creating conversations with people. So find ways to connect. And so that's what I try and do.
And are those Facebook messages, do you have like a series of templates that you like copy paste from, or is it like you actually write it each time?
No, I have a template. And I just change a name. I'll change a little bit here and there, but nope, don't have time for specific messages.
Yes. Okay. And so where do your templates exist when you are they in like a Google sheet that you have open and you copy and paste, or is it
They're in that same Google sheet? It's just on a different tab. So on one tab is all the leads. I know exactly where this person is going. So I take their, I have on one screen, I have the Facebook community, and then the other screen, I have all the recent leads. And then I copy the message. I go over to the Facebook community. I look that person up. I know exactly what base they're going to. I paste the message. I change it to that base, send. And then,
okay, perfect. So we have your military spouse, who's the content lead, who does some heavy lifting, sounds like. We have Zapier, however you say it, which does 400 tasks a month for you automatically, which is amazing. And I know you came on and you taught our crew about how you do that within your business, and everyone left like on fire. They're like, we have to do this right now. And so it's been a fun after the wake of your of your class in our organization. Yeah. But you also do some of these things personally. Are there any other, do you have any other leverage, or is that it in managing this Facebook page?
That's mostly for the Facebook group. I do have a couple other Zaps set up where, hey, if I publish a new video to my YouTube channel or I publish a new blog post to our website, that automatically those get pushed to the Facebook community as well.
Okay, so Facebook is kind of like, it's okay. So to paint it out, you have the blogs, you have videos, you have a bunch of different means for attracting, gaining attention, and then you funnel it into, as long as your client, your avatar, which that is a different note that you said earlier, where it's like, if they're not a military or military spouse, they don't belong, which I think that's so powerful, because so many people are trying to catch everyone. And by trying to catch everyone, they're catching no one. But okay, to go back to what I was talking about. So you have YouTube, you have the blog, and you're funneling into your Facebook page because that is where your community is. And people will feel the connection with you, with other people. They'll feel understood. And that is probably this magic thing that makes it so powerful. Is that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like people feel like they're in the community they're meant to be in, right? Hey, I can come here and it's moving day and someone else volunteers. Hey, I just got here. I've got a bunch of boxes, right? Oh, great. Let me go grab all the boxes. Like things that other folks don't understand, right? They don't know what a military PCS is like, how stressful that process can be, especially when you got kids and pets and all sorts of other shenanigans. You've got to be in TLFs. You got to be in rentals. For all your non-military listeners, I'm sorry. It's just, there's a lot going on, right? And having an MRP doesn't solve it, right? You actually need to know this. And so that I was like, I know this. I've moved almost 20 times in my lifetime, as a military kid and in the military. So like, I got this on lock. I know how to serve these people. Let this be my thing, right? And so that is my thing. I found that's my favorite client. So that's just what I focus on.
Yeah, it makes sense too, because of the personal experience. It's like when you know it and you have felt the pain personally, you can so much better connect with the person on the other side. And question, how many people are in your group at this point, and what % of your business do you know comes from it?
It's about 1,800 right now. And we've been doing it for about 2.5 years or almost 3 years on the group. Not really in earnest till I hired Barbie to do a lot of it. So about 2.5 years there. Probably 60% of my business comes from the group, I would say. And it's hard to say if they come from YouTube and directly opt in, or blog is pretty new, but we're building that out very quickly. So we expect that to perform too. But ultimately, I kind of push people back to the group as the place. And if they're in the group, they're going to see the blog posts. They're going to see the YouTube videos. Like wherever you look, you're going to see me. And I'm looking at getting into retargeting ads as well. Never run an ad or spent $1 basically on marketing so far. But retargeting is kind of a really high ROI. And so I'm thinking about making sure I'm on people's Facebook feeds and their Google feeds if they've seen me already. But still got to figure that piece out. That's coming.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay. Question now. So Got-ish, the Facebook group. What about SEO? You mentioned that in the beginning. Yeah. So talk to me about SEO in your business. And first of all, what is it?
Your listeners are going to be like, God, this guy is such a nerd.
Yeah, totally.
You're 100% right.
Right.
I'm an engineer. Okay. So I've always, Science Tech High School, just been a dweeb my whole life. And that's what I did in the military. I developed weapons, which was awesome, right? Testing and blowing shit up. But, and so of course I have to take that and do technologist type stuff to real estate. It's what I know. It's just what I am. So, and it's also, frankly, now with the whole AI thing, like those that aren't adopting technology in their business, you're wrong. Okay. You've got to be doing it because you're going to fall behind those who are. It was like adopting social media was the last big change to survive in this industry. Now it's adopting technology. But where was I going with that? SEO. So basically I failed at everything with web design, and I tried affiliate marketing, all that kind of shenanigans before. And then I came to EXP because I needed training to become a real estate agent part-time. I immediately deployed and was away from home, so I couldn't actually sell houses. So I was like, well, what's this, attraction thing, or, how does that work? And so I basically started blogging for that. And at that time, it was very new. There were not very many competitors in that space. And so I do that to attract agents that I like and that have similar values and similar interests and want to be kind of investor-minded agents as well. And I built that out. I get somewhere around 5,000 visitors a month of other real estate agents, and a lot of them schedule a call with me through a Calendly link, right? So same, it's different. I'm not, it's not a Facebook community, though I have one for that too, but I'm still attracting the persona that I want to work with to me. And so now we're taking that whole thing and we're doing the same thing with our local real estate team. We're building out a blog for that too. Frankly, on the agent level, like local blog level, kind of wanting to be an agent in your market that's highly searchable, too easy because nobody's doing it. Like on a national level, that's a lot harder. You got to be really good at it. You got to be tech savvy. You got to know all these things. But on like a local level, shoot, you could just go use your KV Core and use a couple tools to write a half decent blog post and start getting a lot of organic traffic from that. SEO, search engine optimization. I'm trying to rank on Google. I'm trying to get people to find me organically. And then when they get there, I need to get them to do something, right? What is a call to action? If it's on my agent website, it's download this PCS guide or work with us. If it's on my Agent Wealth Hustle website, then it's schedule a call with me if you're interested in partnering.
A quick word on our toolbox. We know it can be overwhelming thinking about all of the systems you want to build into your business. And that is why we ask guests to submit their favorite checklist, template, or tracker so you don't have to build from the ground up. Go to realestaterockstarsnetwork.com and click Toolbox for your free access. Thanks so much.
A lot of nerdy stuff there. It took a long time to get good at it, for sure.
Well, I want to break it down a little further. So, SEO is kind of one of those things that people toss around, and half the time you're like, I think I know what that means. But basically, to break it down, it's like someone is going to Google or whatever search engine, and they are typing in, for the sake of the example, it's like agent in Panhandle, Florida, near me, whatever. And you hit enter. And the SEO is when there's an article, there's a website out there with blogs where the terms match what's being searched for. And then Google puts that article on hopefully the front page. so when people are going through the results, they're like seeing, okay, Charlie, who's this? They click on it, and that will tell Google that, they're interested depending on how long they stay on that article, depending on if they take significant actions from it. And that's kind of like teaching Google where your article should play. Is this all correct?
Yeah. Okay. I'm impressed. You know a lot about SEO.
I also live with a nerd, and he tries to tell me things. I intake 50%, but here I am. This is my 50% that I learned.
That's good. People don't need to overcomplicate it. It's really no different than YouTube, and they're both owned by Google now, right? Like, what is it that Google wants you to do on YouTube? They want you to find a video. They want you to stay on the video. They want you to engage the video, right? So if you create a video with the right title and the right thumbnail and the right keywords, and then the people go to it and they actually get value out of the content and stay there, boom, YouTube loves it. They're going to promote you. SEO is the same thing. So it's a little bit more complex in the technicalities and stuff that could be involved in it, especially if you're trying to outrank other articles on a national scale. But in terms of like, hey, I know, well, maybe people listen to this are going to do it now, but I know that I'm the only one writing about certain topics in my area. And so I know I'm going to rank on the first page and maybe even in the top spot. And that top spot's pretty important because, you get 50% less clicks, or I forget what the stat is, on the next spot, and 50% less on the next spot. It's like an exponential amount to be in that top or top few. But it does add fuel to the fire. Like if you've got a Google My Business profile, if you've got a Realtor profile, you've got a Facebook profile, you've got a YouTube profile, and you've got a website where you're writing and talking about stuff, Google can recognize all of that, right, as you being the same person and start to kind of mesh things together.
Isn't it super important that like you make sure all of those things that you just listed, where like making sure your name is exactly the same and like your title? I used to be Shelby Osborne and now I'm Shelby Johnson, and that, Google did not like that. So I don't know, any tips? Didn't. Yeah, no. And I'm like, who is Shelby Johnson? Who knows? So I guess any tips or like insider scoop for someone who's, I would like to increase my presence online, quick and easy type of thing.
Yeah. When it comes to, I think everybody needs to have a Facebook page. I think everybody needs to have a Google My Business page. And then it does help, even if you never use the profiles, to have a Zillow profile, to have a Realtor profile. They all have the same title. They all have the same bio in there. And then when people search your name, all those show up, right? That's good for you, because if somebody isn't sure about working with you, they put you in there, they see you, especially if you got reviews on Google. That's the best place to get reviews. Then they're going to see that. That's great. But then on the SEO side, really you just got to create valuable content of keyword terms that your ideal clients are searching for, and then kind of know how to do that, right? That keyword needs to be in the link for the blog post. It needs to be in the title. It needs to be in the first paragraph. It needs to be in there throughout the article. It needs to be in the alt text for the images. The images need to be a certain size. The content needs to be valuable. People need to actually want to read it, right? And then there's we're going to get a little bit technical here. And then in, like, let's say I'm writing a bunch of blog posts about Eglin Air Force Base, because I am. If I'm writing a bunch of content about Eglin, I want to link all those pieces together. Maybe I want to have one big resource post and it links out to all these little ones. And all these little ones have a thing at the bottom that says, learn more about Eglin, and links back to it. So Google is going to go there and say, hey, that's like a spider web of content. It's I've got a pillar post and I've got all these additional, it's like a hub and spoke, I guess. There's a lot of different ways people describe it, but Google goes there and says, oh, Charlie is an authority. PanhandlePCS.com is an authority on Eglin Air Force Base. I'm going to give all of these articles more love in general because they're all linked together. It sees that as expertise, right? Ultimately, I'd love to beat EglinAirForceBase.gov. I don't know if that's possible, because there's some nuances there, or .mil or whatever it is. But
if anyone can do it, it's you.
Yeah, hopefully.
You just went super nerdy, which I love and I think is super valuable. But let's say hypothetically, I'm listening to this and I'm like, I know that I want to do SEO. I'm super stressed listening to everything that he just said, because that was another language and it sounds like another full-time job. And I'm already doing 12 full-time jobs with you know, all the whatever. So what do you say to that? Is there any sort of shortcut? Would you recommend hiring it out? What are your thoughts on using AI instead? Boom.
Oh gosh. Yeah, we had to go down the AI rabbit hole. So I have hired it out because I just wasn't doing it. And I was like, well, this needs to get done, because right now, yes, the market has slowed. There's no better time to be pouring energy into organic lead gen. Okay. For your listeners out there, now is the time, because when things come back, you will be positioned way ahead of your peers and they won't be able to catch up. But if you're just sitting there crying, like, that's on you, right? You could be working or you can whine about it. So it's time to get to work, get on the organic lead gen. One of those ways is SEO. You don't like to be behind a camera? Do this. It can be as simple as, I use a tool called Rank IQ. It's a good tool for like knowing if you're trying to target a specific keyword, what other words should be in the article. It's that simple. It does a really good job of helping you rank. And so it could be as simple as, think of some keywords that your ideal client might be looking for, plop it in there, write a post, and copy and paste it into whatever your existing website is. Okay. If you're the only one doing that, you're going to rank for it. Now, if you want to get a little bit more complicated to something that's a little bit more SEO friendly, you're more likely to rank higher, something that's kind of built for this, but not get all the way into web development, which I do on the Age of Wealth Hustle side. There's a tool called Carrot. It's a little bit expensive, it's about $100 a month. But it's kind of a done for you SEO friendly WordPress site that's geared towards agents. And so you can follow that, build that out. It does have IDX, so you can bring listings in and stuff like that. And you can write your posts in there. That's what we're doing. But you can kind of get down the rabbit hole nerdiest, or you can not. Now on the AI thing, my thought on that is that if nobody else is writing about that content, having mostly AI written content that you then kind of edit up and tailor to yourself, always do that you kind of make your own, is going to be okay. It's going to rank for a long time. But if you're trying to rank on a national level, or other folks are writing and they're doing a personal, like they wrote it by hand versus an AI, Google's going to be able to sniff that out. So I think that they're going to favor the human written content over the AI. However, they might just favor whichever one the person reading it prefers. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I read something AI or something I wrote, I like the thing I wrote better. So, and maybe that won't always be the case, but there are some tools out there I like. There's a bunch of them for SEO writing now. There's Jasper, there's Rank SEO or something else. They're all really complicated. There's a really simple one called koalawriter.sh. That's the only one I can understand. They're all really complex. That one is very simple. Write me a blog post about this topic, and it basically writes one, and then I go back through and kind of put my own flair on it. I'm not using that often. It has to be a very generic post. I can't write about base housing at Eglin Air Force Base and have another, that's something that's too niche. But if you're doing a generic post, you can use AI tools. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you say, of course, put your own twist on it. So I mentioned earlier how I live with a nerd who is also interested in SEO, and my husband, for listeners who don't know. And he went through this phase of I'm going to write all these articles, we're going to get the SEO going through your website, that sort of thing. And he's doing it from my voice. So he's kind of I think he's using AI and doing it in his own and posting it. And it was one of the very first articles where he sent it to me to review. And after that, I didn't review all of them. They're just up there. But I was like, no, I'm going to rewrite this. This needs to be my own voice. And it's this article on, it's called Why I Left Keller Williams. And so I rewrote the whole thing in my voice, really quirky, all this stuff. And it's the only one that I rewrote. And it is the only one that took off. And it was number one on Google for when people search just Keller Williams. And it was right underneath kw.com, awesome. Which was crazy. And he's like, this is why you need to be writing. But anyway, all that to say, I just thought it was super interesting that it's if you write something for someone else or through AI or whatever, it's Google knew. And Google was nope, this is the one. And it was, I don't know. So that's just my 2 cents experience with it.
And I don't know how long they're going to reward that versus, if that other post was more interesting to read. I doubt it, knowing you personally. But, if an AI post was more interesting to read than a human written one, where is the cutoff? Where does Google favor it? We'll never really, it's going to change, and the algorithms always change. So it sucks because it's a lot of work to write these posts, but you also have to kind of know what's happening and what's developing in the SEO world so that you can kind of make tweaks and adjustments. One of the probably best creators I follow for that is Neil Patel. I'm just on his newsletter and I skim whatever the topic is and go, oh, yep, that's something I want to watch the 6-minute video on, and just kind of put some knowledge in there. And then I probably won't go back to all the old posts right now, but hey, when we do our annual update, we'll add that in, and then for all future posts we'll do that. But
real quick, as you likely know, the 2024 Real Estate Rockstars Mastermind is sold out. But if one of your preferred vendors is looking for marketing opportunities, we are looking for sponsors. We would love to get their name and business out to 80 highly motivated real estate agents from across the country. Know someone who'd be interested? Go to realestaterockstarsnetwork.com and shoot us a quick email for more information. Thanks so much. Back to the show. Yeah. So you were doing so much. Looking ahead, what else are you working on to implement? What's the next hurdle that you're working on?
Yeah, good question. I would love to build a content machine. So I was talking to Michael, is it Gillespie?
Glaspie, yeah.
Glaspie, yeah. Yesterday, actually, we were nerding out on Zapier stuff. And, I'd like to be able to get to a point where I can build a content machine that is cranked out by AI and Zapier. I've got, when I, that YouTube Zap, right? I schedule a YouTube video to be posted. When that happens, I take the title and description of the YouTube video, I send it to ChatGPT and say, write me some hashtags. And it does that. And then it comes back out and then it posts that YouTube video on the Facebook group. And then it's got, hey, here's a new video is out. Here's the title. Here's some hashtags, right? Whoop. And what I'd like to be able to do is get to a point where I can create it like a content machine. Here's all my content ideas or buckets or topics or whatever. And it's basically cranking them out to the point where it creates an Instagram image and then posts it. That's where I'd really like to get. If I can do that, then I can win on all my projects. But ultimately right now, content creation is king. For me, I'm just an idiot that likes to be spread across multiple things, and it's really hard to create content for multiple things. So
haven't you ever heard less is more, Charlie?
I know. And for your listeners, you should pick one platform. If you like SEO, if you like YouTube, if you like shorts, whatever your thing is, then if you're going to put on other platforms, repurpose that one piece of content, right? Don't go crazy trying to make everything perfect for every platform. You can't do it. You don't have time in the day, even on one thing, nonetheless, 3 or 4, whatever the hell I have going on. So pick the thing, like Michael's doing YouTube videos. And I was like, great, we could cut that into shorts. We can create Instagram posts. And most of that we can do with AI, right? We can create a blog post from that transcript. We can do that automatically. So you got to kind of pick. If I was going to pick one thing, that's probably the best starting point is YouTube, because it's so easy to create other pieces of content from that. But
I agree with YouTube, which is hard for me to say because I'm not currently doing it. It's in my next it's in my next 6 months game plan. But I just I used to be such an Instagram type of person. And then I did some thinking about how YouTube really is so much more powerful, in my opinion, than Instagram, because hypothetically, you create a piece of content and people can see it that day, but also in 3 years, it's going to have more views and it's going to get picked up through SEO and people are going to be searching and it's going to pop up and it's just going to continue to feed you. Also, YouTube, you said earlier, is also owned by Google, right? So it's another search engine. People who don't know you naturally are going to search and it could pop up. But then also it's with Instagram, you do a post that you worked hard on your little reel or whatever, and people just swipe, and that's it. They see it for 20 seconds if you're lucky, and they swipe, and it's never going to pop back up again, because it's not like YouTube where it's going to pull itself out of the depths. It's like, no, your work is bye-bye, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just very transient. Same with Facebook posts, right? TikTok's almost a little better in shorts because they're a little bit more searchable, a little bit more SEO there, and a crap ton of eyeballs on those platforms right now.
True.
But yeah, YouTube's going to be there forever. You got to know what you're doing again, right? Like you got to actually know how to optimize. I personally, I guess I didn't know, because I don't know if you get a lot of like, foreign nationals reaching out. Hey, I need to optimize your channel. You could be doing so much better. And I'm just like, I'm using a plugin. It's fine. I'm doing a good job. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try this. And I brought in this guy from, I don't know, Bangladesh or something, I think. And he's going through and optimizing my videos one at a time. And like the first week he was there, a whole bunch of new videos I'd posted went from like 20 views to 700 views each.
Wow.
Like my channel just blew up. And I was like, whoa, I must not have known what I was doing. All right.
Wow.
Sometimes it's better to hire an expert. Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. Totally worth the money. Yeah, I know. I'll send you his info.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, you're not going to hold out on me. You're
Yeah.
All right.
Crushing it. I don't know.
And and it's like, listeners, if you want the info, reach out to Charlie Cameron. Wait, how do you want people to reach out to you, actually?
Yeah. crushitwithcharlie@gmail.com. They can find me at Facebook at that address. They can find me at that KV Core website. They can find me panhandlepcs.com.
Of course, you search.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, you are. You're all over the place.
Or search me, Charlie Cameron EXP. You'll find me.
Perfect. And one last thing on AI. This is just sharing, because I recently went to the Tom Ferry Summit, which was amazing. Like I never used to go to agent conferences. I was always like every investor conference. Mm-hmm. But they were so aggressive in their push for AI, which I loved. They're like, exactly what you said. If you're not using it, you're going to get left behind. And they had multiple presentations on like the different ways that you can use AI in your business. And I think what you were talking about with like the content machine, it's so almost possible, if not already possible, with the amount of like, dude, the AI that they were showing, they're like, they took a video, let's say a reel, and they had specific AI that when they connected it to the reel, it auto-transcribed, of course. Mm-hmm. And then within it like popped up into what looked like a Google Doc, and you could edit it. So like in the words, you could switch around the words, cut from here, paste up here, and it would automatically change the video, where it would like take what he said and they pop. And I was just like,
I think that's
what is happening?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It blew my freaking mind. Yeah. And they had so many things like that where it's like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're right, Tom Ferry. I am going to learn about AI now. So
the problem now is the rabbit hole is already so deep that you can just get consumed by all these tools. It's tough. Like every day I probably write down 3 more just on a list. Like, okay, maybe this will be useful one day. So I just write them down as they pop up.
Totally.
But, man, there's a lot.
Yeah, that's what they did too. They said that was one of the problems. It's, here are the 15, they did 15 different ways that you can use it in your business. But the problem is within that first way that you can use it, there are like 25 different or more AI. It's kind of like the app overload is what they equated it to. It's like, apps are really cool until you realize that there was a bajillion apps and you could spend the next 4 weeks just looking at your different options. And now it's the same thing with AI.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Whatever we do, you got to pick some things and try and use them, right? Some of them are going to have pros and cons, but you got to just kind of work with it and figure it out and move on, right? Because you can't just get stuck in, analysis paralysis, right?
For sure.
Got to do something and keep going.
Okay, Charlie, I have taken up enough of your time today. I think we'll probably have you back later to like pick one of because today was pretty much an overview. We did a bunch of, we can go real deep into, So listeners, if you want that.
Bore your listeners to death.
Oh, there's some nerds out there. They're going to love it. So listeners, if you do want to hear that, actually, if you could go to YouTube and just comment whether or not that sounds interesting to you, that would be great. But otherwise, Charlie, any last words of wisdom from you before I ask, sell yourself afterwards? Wisdom, then sell yourself.
I don't know if I have any wisdom for you. Keep pushing. This market's rough. Anybody who says they're doing as well as they were a year ago is a liar. Just keep pushing through because it's going to come back. That's just how real estate works. Keep on that organic lead gen if you got it, because you're going to be nailing it when it comes back.
Yes. Okay. And Charlie, who should reach out to you? They already heard how, but like, who do you want to talk to?
Yeah. I'm an investor. I'm a nerd. I love talking real estate investing extensively. I love talking lead generation, automation. If people want to kind of nerd out and, if you have some knowledge of Zapier or SEO, I'd love to chat. I haven't started my consulting business on any of those, but I'm interested in that too. If people need me to set something up, let me know. Maybe that is something I should look into doing. But look forward to helping the rock stars as much as I can. I put some stuff in the toolkit, all nerd stuff. So a couple investment calculators, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, multifamily, and then just a couple things our team uses, some transaction checklists and some seller net sheets that auto-calculate.
Okay, it's so funny because we have some guests that like don't submit a tool at all, and I think you've submitted like 15.
I know. That's just what I did.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I totally forgot it. So listeners, make sure that you go to realestaterockstarsnetwork.com, go to the toolbox to get your free tools, everything Charlie just said. And also reach out to him. Super cool guy. And Charlie, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Even though you have COVID, you are crushing it. Crush it with Charlie. And listeners, if you want to hang out with me, I am The Shelby Show on Instagram, and the owner of the show is Aaron Amuga-Stegi. We want to hear from you. We want feedback, how we can improve, what you want to deep dive into. Did you like this? Did you not? The whole thing. And otherwise, guys, that is it for today. Charlie, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. And Real Estate Rockstars, thanks for listening.